You're listening to the Telltale channel. Don't forget to check me out on all social media: Patreon, Twitter, Teespring, and Etsy. All links can be found in the description or on my website, telltaleatheist.com. Hey, this is Owen. If you're comfortable, leave your first name and state at the sound of the tiny truck backing up.
Hello, Telltale. My name is Chris. I live in Wisconsin. I'm just calling because I was reading an article about Jehovah's Witnesses and their history, and it turns out in 1912, their founder, Charles Taze Russell, was involved in a libel lawsuit with a Canadian minister, and during the trial, it was proven that he couldn't speak ancient Greek or Hebrew, so thus his claim that he found hidden Bible artifacts was proven wrong. Do the Jehovah's Witnesses have an explanation for this, or do they just dismiss it as apostate propaganda? Thank you. Keep up the good work.
I appreciate that phone call. Really interesting subject, too. Let me give you a short, basic breakdown of the history of Jehovah's Witnesses and what happened. So Charles Taze Russell was one of the founding members. I think the other founding member was Nelson Barber or something like that. There were two of them. Anyways, they started the religion in the late 1800s, and it was based off of the Millerite movement. The Millerite movement believed all this stuff about Jesus coming back and a certain year, a certain date, and they had all this Bible math to calculate it out and everything else. Well, when all of that Bible math fell flat, Charles Taze Russell picked it up and ran with it. He loved it. He thought it was legit. Too legit to quit, if you will. So he runs with this Bible math and sets the date to like 1874 and then 1879, and it just kept moving up and failing and failing and failing over and over again, failed predictions, until finally he set the date at 1913, right? It came and went. Nothing happened. So he changed it. He was like, oh, there's no year zero, so it must be 1914, not 1913. Ironically, an argument that the Millerites gave when their dates failed. Oh, there's no year zero. We totally forgot. It just goes from -1 to 1. So Jehovah's Witnesses, basically, at the time, they were called the Bible students. Charles Taze Russell and the Bible students believed that something happened in 1914. Jesus came back invisibly. Again, another claim the Millerites made on their very final failed prediction in the mid-1800s. But, we're going to forget about that. It was a long time ago. Nobody remembers, so we're going to make the exact same claims as the Millerites. So 1914 comes and goes. Nothing happens, of course. Halloween night, 1916, Charles Taze Russell dies. And the next person in line was Joseph Rutherford. The organization was largely structured with like a board, basically, with somebody kind of at the head of the board, but Joseph Rutherford pretty much did a hostile takeover of the religion in the 20s and took control of everything. Fired anybody that he didn't like and put in his own people. It was a big thing. People really loved and respected Charles Taze Russell still at this time in the 20s and the 30s. So they were wearing big bushy beards in honor of Charles Taze Russell because he had a big bushy beard. And that's where the beard ban comes from. Joseph Rutherford didn't like that. He didn't like people being reminded of his predecessor, so he banned beards. That's why you'll never see a Jehovah's Witness with a beard, or you're very unlikely to. So fast forward a little bit, in the 1930s, I think 1933, Joseph Rutherford basically did a full hostile takeover of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society and renamed the religion from the Bible students to Jehovah's Witnesses. That's when they got their name, was in the early 30s, from Joseph Rutherford. At that point, the Bible students split off pretty much from Jehovah's Witnesses because Jehovah's Witnesses had all of the power, all of they had the organizational structure and all of the money and everything. So now the Bible students, the organization that was created by Charles Taze Russell, was in the hands of this guy, Joseph Rutherford. It was now called Jehovah's Witnesses. So the Bible students are nothing more than a belief system at this point. They don't have any money. They don't have anything at this point in time. But they did actually survive. There are Bible students out there today still. They are still Bible students, the religion created by the original founder, Charles Taze Russell. So your question was, what do Jehovah's Witnesses think about Charles Taze Russell basically tripping over himself and having to admit in court that he doesn't speak ancient languages, so he had no right to make the claims that he was making? The answer to the question is, Jehovah's Witnesses really don't know much about that. In fact, I would venture to say almost none of them know that, because the history of Charles Taze Russell was largely lost to Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, it's still out there, obviously, but Jehovah's Witnesses have been cut off from it, and very specific information about the founder has been provided to the members of the religion. If the governing body, if Joseph Rutherford and the other leaders, the other presidents of the religion, didn't want the members to know something about Charles Taze Russell, they de facto erased it from the history. Like I said, that history did survive through the Bible students, so it is out there. But Jehovah's Witnesses largely, as a membership, don't know about that stuff. It's just one more nail in the coffin, in my eyes, for the religion. It was built on faulty ground. It was built on lies and deception and bullshit, and that's where we are today.